little notification. Perfect. All right, I got a little notification. It's going through on my computer or my phone. Hi, y'all. We're live. It's Friday after 12:30. Like Hamida and I said a couple weeks ago, trying to be on here every other week or so to still engage and be together. I am joined today with our Transform team to get a little update on that programming. For those of you who don't know about Building Bridges, we're driving a movement for inclusive leadership, and that has started and remains to be solidified through our young adult programming that we call Transform. And then we also have adult programming that we call Shift. So today we're talking Transform. So y'all want to introduce yourself, Celeste?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Celeste. I use she, her pronouns. Ella if you speak Spanish. And I'm the Transform Program Specialist.
Yes, and my name is Raegan. I use she and her pronouns, and I am the Transform Program Manager. Yay!
Thank y'all for being here. Hamida's in New York, New York.
Living it up.
Living it up, so we're holding it down. Do y'all want to just give your little spiel of, like, again, what is Transform specifically? What is that programming for young adults?
Yes, would love to. To keep it brief, Transform, like Maren said, is our youth serving program. Our mission and goals for Transform is to equip young leaders with the tools to just be great in their communities. We think that our students are already great and resilient and do amazing work, and we are a good, a good outlet, maybe partner. I don't know. I would say partner. I think the work we do with our students is definitely modeled after like a partnership of where we're there to support our students and help them have access to the things that they need and things they want to do and plug them into places. Yeah. Celeste, anything you want to add there?
No, I think just like logistically wise, it's a year-long program. So we're with them. We start in the summer with a big, like, intensive period, and then we meet monthly throughout the school year with some retreats sprinkled in. So yeah, it's a pretty long time to be with them. So it's great just seeing them grow and flourish and do all the things.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all. I muted myself because there was some like military airplane going by really fast or something.
Oh gosh.
Thanks for describing that. Before we get into this a little too far, I just want to do what we always do at Building Bridges, whether it's a live or a meeting or just a one-on-one. We always want to make sure we check in and see how folks are doing. So let's do that. How are you coming in a motion word or two, or just a quick little synopsis?
Yes, I'm feeling honestly quite exhausted. My weeks are seeming to be very long. So I'm kind of looking forward to the winter because, you know, you get the shorter days. Although I don't know if that's actually going to be true for me, but I'd like to hope. Holding on to it. How are you, Celeste?
Very much distracted. I'm in college, so I have to do that. And then, you know, working on Transform. Like Raegan, my weeks are very long. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Fair enough.
Can I also add that I'm excited? I realized that I haven't been on this live since February. So it's really cool to, you know, be back.
Nice. Yeah, good to have you back. Hopefully having more folks rotate through this, that it's a traveling circus of building bridges and all the things. Yeah, and for me, I hear that word distracted or I feel that we're distracted. This week just was a weird one. It felt like it like accordioned, like it was really slow and then kind of fast and then really slow, or you know, it's kind of,
I feel
I had
that.
weird like sleep patterns. So I'm just kind of, yeah, grateful it's Friday, and also can't per usual, like how but yeah, super happy and excited to be with both of you here live.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, Transform is a long year-long program, and we usually kick that off with a summer intensive. So we invited you on to kind of give us a little synopsis. What was that like? How was the Transform Summer Intensive?
You wanna take us away first, Celeste, or would you like for me to go first?
I can go. So we started with honestly a pretty hectic recruitment period. There's a lot of changes happening in the org and a lot of changes happening within Transform that we were everywhere. So it was very hectic, like leading up, like through June into July, into the summer intensive. But once we got our like core students there and attending, we did jump over like a few hurdles, like like because of the pandemic, I will say, because of the panorama and
Panini.
but the panini, yeah, we got through it. But we did manage to get our students start with some time here in Denver. We did like kind of a day camp style thing for a couple days, and then we took them up to the mountains to Estes Park for like a retreat, which was really nice. And then we came home and did some virtual like wrap up things too. So that was really nice.
Yeah, Celeste, I definitely echo that like chaotic energy that I feel like we had. A lot of things were just like out of our control, but I am still really grateful for the people we had and the people we have. My motto, and I say this all the time to our teams, is the people that are here in this moment are here for a reason. And it's going to be great because of that. Like we are all here because we need to be here or want to be here. And I think we definitely had a group that needed and wanted that space this summer and through the school year. So I'm excited for the next few months of programming.
Thanks. I'm gonna keep back and forth, I think, because there's just so much weird sound. But yeah, I mean, anything more in regards to, or just maybe like, what is this like? What's happening at the summer intensive, like, and what are maybe like throughout the year as well? What are folks participating in, engaging with?
Yeah, so like other areas in building bridges, Transform also is an anti-oppressive program, and our curriculum is based on anti-oppression and empathy and all the things you all know building bridges to be. But specifically what we start off with in the summer is we like to have a space for our students to get to know themselves and understand things and learn things about themselves that maybe they knew about and knew existed, but couldn't really put words to. We like to do this activity called identity circles, where I'll say our group, because our facilitators also do this activity, but where they put down identities that are salient or important to them in that moment. And we have discussions around like, what does that mean? And how does it feel? What feelings are coming up as you're looking at this sheet or as you were thinking of these identities? So we start off with some workshops like that, where we're focusing on ourselves and understanding ourselves, self-exploration, we'll say. And then about midway through the summer intensive, we start transitioning into how do we work together and how are identities existing in the same room together? Some identities that we have are shared and some that are very different, which means that we interact with and the world interacts with us differently therefore we're interacting with each other. And those differences are going to come up. I would say that's probably like the bulk of our summer, doing some of that interpersonal relationship work. Sorry, y'all. Words are hard for me today.
Friday.
Yeah.
It's all good. You're doing it.
Yes, I'm ready to clock out, y'all. And then and then the last piece, or not the last piece, but the next piece of our program, which we kind of begin to touch on in the summer, but mostly focus on for the school year, is what is our purpose in the world, or the impact that we have in like our communities outside of the people we've spent all this time with. And that's what leads into the change projects that our students do, which, yeah, I'll stop right there. I've been talking a lot.
Well, thank you. Yeah, anything else you would add, Celeste, or even like with this specific group, what did you notice, or something that surprised you throughout the?
Yeah, for sure. There was a lot. I think just to add on is they do a lot. We have them do, it happens naturally, and sometimes we set activities for them, but lots of bonding, getting together, building friendships and things like that. We do a lot of that, did a lot of that in the summer, and then added on to it, or are going to add on to it throughout the school year. But this group is like so cool. Like, I wish I was that cool when I went through the program. They're just so knowledgeable and so ready and like into the work that we do. You know, we were prepping our facilitation team with like patterns we've noticed in the past, so some resistance, some uncomfortability. And we did see that, but not nearly as much as we've seen in the past. And it was just so amazing to see them so ready to like jump into this kind of work that like we know is difficult.
Right.
But they were like into it. It was great.
Yeah. Something else that was really unique about this group, because of being in a panini, a panoramic, was the fact that like a lot of our students had actually never stepped foot in their high school. So that was a dynamic that we knew. We realized in interviews that something that kept coming up was, I want to make friends. I want to connect with people my age. Like, I don't know anyone. I don't know any high schoolers. Which I'll say was very shocking at first. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like, you all have been doing virtual schooling for a year and a half now. So if you started as a freshman in the pandemic, like, you haven't actually been in high school and had that high school experience that I used to think that our programming was dependent on having that like high school experience or like being in a building. So it was cool to realize like, oh, our curriculum actually stands pretty independent from like that specific experience. And we can still do really meaningful work without that. And two, just like Celeste said, we had to not even had to, we just naturally ended up doing a lot of team bonding and team building because it was what was needed. And I really appreciate how flexible our curriculum and program can be so that we can tailor each year to whatever the students need. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I just want to reiterate for folks, like, we want to continue to paint the picture that like we have these two programmings, and the adult program was created though because of the Transform program. Like the Transform Young Adult program's been around for 25 years, and what we found was how much young adults were coming up against other adults at school, at jobs, at whatever, that weren't getting the communication skills, weren't building empathy around different lived experiences and empathy of just life in general, and how much what you just all said is what we also do with adults, right? Like, what is it to build community? What is it to talk about identities that we hold? And how do we navigate that with each other in order to do something, whether it's change in our communities, whether it's creating new policies at our organization. So I just want to string that together again for folks who are maybe watching from different perspectives. Raegan, were you a participant as well, or have you just came in as a facilitator?
No, yeah, I came in as a facilitator. Shout out to Jen Sarche and Demi. They got me when I was 18. And yeah, I like fell in love with well, so I started before Transform was officially like Transform. But I fell in love with the youth program. Like, I think the work we do is magical, honestly. That might sound like a really weird, or not even weird, that feels on brand for us, for me to say a magical.
It's so meta and like metaphysical. That's great. Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, y'all get it. You know what I mean? Magical. Yes. It was a magical experience.
You know.
I wish I had done something like this when I was in high school, though. I don't know who I would be today. I feel like I'm a pretty okay person, but if I had done building bridges when I was in high school, oh, y'all couldn't tell me anything, okay?
I love thinking about that. And Celeste, as you said, you were a participant. Like, what has your journey been like in being all these different roles through building bridges till now?
Oh boy, I feel like I've worn all the hats at this point.
I think you really have.
Yeah, and it wasn't even on purpose. I'm not like trying to like I don't know. Take over, but like it happened. I joined the Transform program as a participant in 2017 with my cohort. Had a really good time, really enjoyed it, really changed the trajectory of my life. Like, I went in being like, I'm gonna go to college for veterinary school, and I came out like, I'm gonna go to college for social work. So like that's the kind of transformation that I literally went through. And then a couple months after I finished up our program, it was about, so we ended in May, my school year long program, and then around like August, September is when I was approached by Megan, and she asked me if I wanted to be the like alumni seat position on the board, which I was all for. So I joined the board, sat on the board of directors for a long time, almost 3 years, I think. I'm already off the board, but almost 3 years. Within that time, I joined the Alumni Fellowship, which was kind of like our year 2 version of the Transform program that we offer. So that had me starting to get involved in the shift programming. So I facilitated some short-term things with them, with the adults. So I got some of that experience. And then last year, I joined the facilitation team for last year's cohort. And then now I'm the specialist. So yeah, I've gone all the way around, full circle.
It's so cool. Raegan, was it like to like witness that from Celeste?
It's amazing. I literally remember Celeste, like 2017 high schooler Celeste. I remember when like we all knew, yeah, she wants to be a veterinarian. Like, I don't know, it's amazing. Like, I love it so much. I really enjoy having Celeste as a peer, and I love following her leadership, because I feel like I always have, like, even when she was in the Transform program, I knew that like this is someone who I will gladly follow, like, for sure. So to like be able to, like, it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to actually make it happen and make sure that like there are spaces for young people, myself included, but like myself and Celeste, to like actually have these spaces and have a seat at the table, if you will. Yeah, it's been so exciting and such a humbling and rewarding journey for me to just like bear witness to all that Celeste is doing and will do and has done.
Yeah. And so set to do way more.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait till Celeste is running this organization.
Oh.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's on the horizon. So
Oh boy.
What's it like to hear that, Celeste?
Let me finish college.
Like, slow down.
No, but really, I'm flattered. I literally remember it was like our fall retreat or like spring retreat when I was in Transform, and Raegan had said like, "You're gonna take my job one day," and I was like, "Oh, haha!" And now like jump to 2021. I'm like, well,
I was serious.
she got me.
The steps have started.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, and I think, and that kind of like ties into what we are trying to do. Like, we have Transform, where there's this opportunity for young adults to really lean into understanding themselves and their roles and just what it means to be in this world with all our identities that we hold, and what does it mean to be in conflict and move through that and really come together. And then, as you mentioned, Celeste, then there has been opportunity for our alumni to kind of maybe lean into more building up skills to be a facilitator, to hold space, and Celeste, you and I have been in some scenarios too, where you've been there facilitating adults, right? And how cool that's been to see in fruition, and also how like there are some things that's been hard to navigate and like figure out, but yeah, and like that pipeline is something that we're continuously trying to figure out how to navigate, that we are really walking our walk in terms of, really, we empower young adults and we hire them and we work with them and they're our colleagues and we look up to them. I'm wondering, and from that kind of like ageism perspective, Celeste, anything else that you would like, just reactions or experiences that you've had?
Yeah. The pipeline, by the way, is my dream. Like, I'm so excited for it to like come to fruition. And we're already making the moves, but yeah, essentially I want the path that I took. Maybe not the whole thing. We don't need to like have them anyway.
Maybe not the
But
board.
like yeah, being on the board and doing the alumni fellowship and getting a job. Yeah, they don't have to, but like making that path easier, so like bringing them into the fellowship, training them, paying them for what they're doing, putting them in these like facilitation opportunities and networking and all this amazing things. So yeah, that's my dream, but the ageism is definitely something that I think about very often when we're talking about this pipeline, because it's nice to be like, oh yeah, like this will be great. The fellows will like learn how to facilitate, and then they get a short-term contract through shift, and it's great. And then they're actually there, and that's a different story, because as much as like Building Bridges does everything in our power to like empower them and like we assure them that they're the experts and things like that, the clients don't often see it that way. So I remember the first time, I think you were there, Maren, the first time I did an adult facilitation. Granted, it was an unusual group, but there was so much ageism. I remember we were just doing group norms, like our baseline, like let's set some like norms for the group, like as we stay, like have this time together. And there was some like discussion, maybe a little bit of a debate over one of the rules that they wanted to put up. And I was facilitating it, and I felt fine, perfectly fine. But then I heard someone say like, "Oh, that poor girl," like behind me, and I was like, I'm fine. I'm getting paid. I'm not emotionally distressed by you arguing over this little sentence. I'm fine. And there was a lot of that throughout that weekend. So just like trying to navigate how can we empower our youth to be in those positions, but also protect them, and like not in a weird like you can't protect yourself kind of way, but like how do we reduce harm into our facilitators? Which is a lot of, we've already started talking about that through our curriculum, and we've been redoing a lot of our workshops like with the lens of harm reduction. And so I'm looking forward to applying that to like everything, even our like theories and concepts like the pipeline.
Yeah, thanks for that. Anything you would add or respond to, Raegan?
Yeah, I mean, my immediate response was, that's why we also have shift, so that like we can do as much as we can to try to prepare and shield and whatever with our young people, but it's the adults that need to do the work. Like,
There's a moral of the story. I think
Yeah.
that's a big flashing one.
yeah, like it's not, yeah, like with any oppressive system, like it's not on the oppressed person to try to mitigate and move around and do the oh, what did Jenny used to call it, the whatever gymnastics. I know we've had different phrases for it, but basically tumble all around, trying not to get harmed. And with, yeah, so I think that this is why it is important to have both programs like Transform and Shift that are servicing everybody, because we all have a part to play in everything. That's so vague, but those are the terms of being a human being on this earth.
Yeah. And I think that's where we really do believe in like working with each like how do we build up our collateral of people who like even want to talk about this or even consider what is ageism, what is sexism, how am I playing that out, or does it exist in this room? Right. And it can feel like, I don't know if this is y'all's experience, but sometimes it can feel like we're just like, but we've got this small little group, right, that just continues to build, and like that to me is enough to like know that we're doing some things out here. And then yes, that most the adults need the most help.
It's hard unlearning things.
It is, but I think that's what, again, in terms I want to highlight too, of just like that is our posture though. Like we have learned so much within the last 2 to 3 years through Transform, but also through all that we've attempted to through Shift, and like what Celeste said of just, and even trying out what is it to have our alumni come and facilitate Rooted or Uprooted, and what happened, and how do we really make sure that this is useful and beneficial for everybody, and then how do we reduce harm and make this something that is maybe helping build skills, but also maybe we don't do it quite as soon as we did it last year or in the past. And so again, that's with Shift, that's why we have, even when we talk like racial equity that we've been doing, like that we have to have affinity spaces to start off, and like how do we work adults through, especially white folks, through some basic foundation before we even let you be in a multi-race space, even get you to be facilitated maybe by a young adult at some point, so that you can like actually take in what's happening.
Right.
A lot of work, but we've been doing it.
We definitely have. And yeah, I can't wait until, there are moments where I don't have to worry about our young people going out and facilitating a group of adults. Not because I don't think that they can do it. I know they can, because they have, and have proven time and time again that they are more than ready and equipped to, but concerned about what the adults are going to do or say. Because that's so discouraging as a young person and that's the other thing that gets me. We have all been young at some point, and I don't know what happens to where maybe it's that like trauma of adults did me dirty, so now I'm gonna do young people dirty. Gotta keep the cycle going.
Which makes complete sense. What?
Right, like think back. Like I guess one thing I like to encourage our older folks in the community is, before you interact with a young person or think about like judging or saying something, so giving unsolicited feedback, think about when you were young and just ask yourself, like, is this actually helpful? Is this something that I would have wanted someone to say to me? Not like, oh yeah, I wish someone had told me this when I was younger, but like truly think, like, is this helpful? Or am I doing this just because I'm being ageist? And if your answer is, I don't know, don't say it. Like, save yourself the breath. Save your words. Uh, but yeah, like, just, I don't know, I would just challenge people to think back often of like when you were younger, what was life like? How were the adults in your life? And hopefully that like sparks something in us all to want to do better and want to treat our younger people a little different.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks for that. All right, kind of was riffing and got off on a tangent on that, but back to like more specifically, like this summer intensive, this year's programming, anything else, like what has changed, challenged, or confirmed something this year with Transform and with this group?
Ooh. Something that I would say is confirmed, because I'll admit, like, some days it's hard. But this summer did confirm for me that our program is still needed and wanted. And that's like the motivation for me to keep going and want to keep revising and editing and like reviewing our curriculum and the things that we do and the spaces we occupy, and like the push to be more intentional. Because even though, like Celeste said, our today's young people know a whole lot more than they did before. And at times it can feel like, what are we doing then? Like, they know this already. But there's always something, and there's always another way that we can push and further that growth and learning. So that was confirmed for me this year. This summer, I was like, cool. Even though they know way more than I did as a high schooler, there's still more that we can do with them and more learning to be done, to be had, to be done. Whichever word.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going go with it. We know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that gets me thinking too, just like how important just the permission and the space to talk about it. Like whether however much more information they're coming in, they're still maybe not having a lot of different spaces where they could even explore that.
Right. Yeah, and then I guess a piece that I guess I just did it too, but something that was also confirmed and challenged, it was a challenge put to me actually, about the type of student that typically joins our program. I think that there are far more districts that we could be tapping into with students who maybe aren't as versed in talking about systems of oppression. So that's a challenge for us going into this next. We are going to start recruiting soon, y'all. Yikes. It's almost that time again. But a good challenge that was put forth to us for this next school year on how do we expand our reach into people who typically wouldn't have access to programming like we do.
Mhm.
Yeah, just to like jump off of that, it was definitely a realization that we had, like in terms of recruitment of where are we looking for students and what students are actually showing up and where do we have gaps, right? Um, and we found out like with our recruitment, while we do our best, or we thought we were definitely missing gaps on marginalized communities, on marginalized school districts, on students who don't have access, and our main points of contacts were schools who have a higher demographic of privileged students. And so just like what does that mean in the work that we're doing, and what does that mean for the students that we're pulling into kind of these spaces. So it was definitely a challenge, and I think we learned a lot from it. And our recruitment period, like this upcoming year, is going to be very different, and I think in a great way, which is going to be awesome. I think going back to what Raegan had started with like them knowing so much, like during their interviews, some of the students were dropping like, you know, terms like intersectionality and like already talking about systems of oppression. And I was like, whoa, like, do we even need to do those? Like what we consider intro workshops, like, you know, we have a intersectionality workshop with like the wheel, and then they plot their identities. And um even though like they had knowledge of these concepts, like I really saw like the effect of having the workshop and having them all together, and like that interpersonal like effect really added another layer to how they were thinking about these things, which is really cool, because it was a fear of mine of like, we're not gonna teach them anything. So yeah, that was a thing. And then I think a big change was our curriculum. We kind of had this moment. So we formed a curriculum team and we reviewed every single one of our workshops. I mean, we're still doing it, but for our summer at least, we finished all of them. And we kind of realized that some things we were doing just because they were a tradition and we did them every year, even though there like was no point, or it was kind of problematic, or, you know, XYZ. So like doing that big like change in our workshop templates and how we do them, and how we talk about certain topics was just so cool.
Going against white supremacy culture right there. Slowing down, reassessing. Let's do something different. I love it. I'm wondering just like any like more specifics in terms of just so everyone who watches this has the information, like currently what school districts are you in when you say you're going into recruitment season, like what does that mean if folks, you know, is it 9th through 12th grade, some of those details?
Yes. Okay, Celeste, you're gonna have to help me out because I know I'm gonna miss things because I always do. So first, when we recruit, wait, let me back up. The first question you asked was about what school districts we're in now. At the current moment, we have students in Denver Public Schools, Aurora Public Schools, Cherry Creek District, Adams 12, and Jeffco. If any of our students are watching this and I miss your school district, I am so sorry. But I think those are the like big five. And I know I'm like, I always forget something and people are like, what, you forgot about me? Like, no, I didn't forget about you, just, you know, the details got lost. And then the students that we recruit are incoming 10th through 12th graders. So for folks who know 9th graders right now, and we do start our new recruitment process, please nominate or send that student our way. They will be eligible. That feels weird. They'll hit our age requirement. But I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about though.
We got you.
So yes, incoming 10th through 12th graders. There is not any specific type of student or person that you have to be, just one who is open-minded and interested in learning about like anti-oppressive frameworks, and folks who enjoy connecting with people that they know are going to be different from them. I would say that that's the only requirement, honestly. Yeah. Yeah. Do we have?
No, we're all gender, so anybody, we used to not be, so I think I would clarify that, because I think some people who are putting out feelers still think that we're restricting gender. It's all gender now. So anybody can join, any identities, any whatever.
Yes. And then recruitment will begin this winter. So be on the lookout on our social media. So through Facebook, but we're the most active on our Instagram which is Bridges Transform. And follow Bridges Shift.
I mean, you
You
can.
know.
If you want.
But yeah, for any updates, the first thing to get updated will be our Instagram. And then there's another piece I was gonna say, but I forgot it. So yeah.
Oh, and what recruitment looks like, so we start with a recruitment team on our end. So we assemble a group of, like this year was just alumni, but alumni, BB staff, people in our realm. And then we start with an application, which is pretty easy. It's just like getting to know you questions. It's not like yes or no, like wrong or right answers. It's just, we want to know more about you. And then there's an interview that's like super chill, casual, just meeting with two of our people from the recruitment team. And then they're in. That's it. Nothing special. No fees. Yeah.
Yes, this is a free program.
Yes, highlight that.
You
y'all.
just need to show up.
Bold.
Be committed to show up.
Yes, committed to show up.
Yeah, I think that's all the pieces.
I think so. Cool. How about a little checkout? Like, what is something you've learned, something you're learning, or anything else you'd want folks to know about Transform? I just gave you 3 questions. It's such a bad habit of mine.
That's all right. I see them as options.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I like that name.
I would say that something that I would want folks to know about Transform. I feel like we just gave a lot of like logistical information, but something that like my favorite part of the program is definitely when the end of the year celebration, when our students present their change projects. So something I would want folks to know is please stay tuned and join us for our end of the year celebration. It's usually the first Saturday of May, which I think next year is May 1st. And join us so that you can like really get to see and help us celebrate all the hard work that our students have put forth to create change in their community, because that's not an easy task. So I guess my main thing is just come support us, please. We love it. We love to have people that we don't know and people that we haven't seen in a long time, and all ages. We don't discriminate.
Yeah. What else can I say about Transform that's not like just trust me, it's good. That's really how I feel. But I think it's just such a wonderful, welcoming program, and we're all really cool people, if I do say so myself. Yeah, just there's no downside really. Like, what negative do you get out of this situation? But really, yeah, that's just it, period. Yeah, I love working with young people, and I learn something new from them every time we interact. And it's just amazing to see them grow.
For sure.
So good. It's magic. We're actually getting support with brand script, like how to actually describe our magic, but building bridges is magic. And if you know, you know, and Transform is a huge piece to it. I actually was a facilitator for a summer intensive a couple of summers ago, and it changes adults and young adults, and it's just so good. If you are someone who's looking for connection, looking for support, looking to understand yourself and the world, and like figuring out ways to actually like do something and be in your community about it, then this is the place.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Yeah, everyone's real nice.
We are. We are a nice group. You know, like our programming stands on its own, like it is its own thing. But our teams are also really cool. Oh, I guess another quick thing. Um, usually slash most times our transform team is primarily composed of alumni from the transform program. So I don't know, I think that's just like really
important.
special and unique in that, yeah, you don't see that everywhere, where like literally the people who are running things and who are in that like mentor space have also gone through the same exact thing that you're doing program wise. So yeah, if you eventually think you would want to facilitate with us and you're in high school, join our program. That's a really guaranteed way to get in there.
I feel like that's a really important part though too, right? Like I'm thinking of young adults in high school thinking about doing this program and then like envisioning who are the adults that they will be in contact with and like and you know assuming that they're like their teachers or like their bosses or like their parents.
Right.
And like you said, no, it's actually a lot of folks who have been through the same programming,
Yeah.
who get it.
They
They're not
live
trying to
and
tell
get
you
it.
to do the things. They're just asking questions and having you think through some stuff.
Right. But yeah.
Love it. All right, y'all. Anything else other than Transform is amazing and you should join somehow?
Join, donate. You can donate through our website. I'm pretty sure there's a donate button when you first land on it. If not, it is in one of the drop down sections. And yeah, come support.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whoop whoop. And we will be here 12:30 every other Friday with some version of staff and building bridges community. So love to have you be here or share it. And like mentioned before, we have 2 different Instagrams. Like and follow, sign up for our newsletter. Yeah, there's all kinds of different ways. But yeah, basically, are you a young adult or are you an adult? If you're a young adult, you're going to Transform. If you're an adult, you're going to Shift. So check out our
Space
website.
for everyone.
There's space for everyone. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna turn us off of Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Facebook.